Okay, so we got a Bushiroad stream that revealed quite a lot of information last night. And when I say last night, I mean at 5 AM UK time. And yes, I did watch it live, so I immediately went to bed afterwards. And that's why this video is going up much later than I wanted it to. If Bushiroad had decent time on their streams, then this wouldn't be an issue. But hey, I guess Japan takes priority. Anyway, let's talk about the news. So yeah, Bushiroad had a stream last night. I'm recording this in a slightly different location, so it's going to be a little bit more echoey than usual, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So yeah, let's talk about the news, and more so the lack thereof. A nitpick I want to get out of the way immediately, and this has been the case for the past few years too, is that these streams, again, have not been at an ideal time of day for the UK, but they've also not done a great job translating stuff. The stream itself was in Japanese. God bless them, the official Vanguard Twitter account tried live tweeting the English version of the news alongside it, but because of Twitter, they could only really... Their tweets kind of made it a bit more confusing, I guess. I'll get into that as we go through the news, basically. But I managed to get up a Reddit post of all things that seemed to translate the news to the best ability of anyone I had seen. So I'm going off of that. And I think I've got a fairly decent, because my initial reaction to the stream was, I'm kind of interested in all this stuff they're showing. I just don't know what much of it is because of the lack of translation. But I also don't even necessarily think it's the lack of translation. I just think they haven't given away that much details about the things they announced. So let's go through in order. First thing they talked about was CardFight Vanguard IF, which is the new story arc of the anime. It's the one that will be coming after the Shindou arc. Yeah, CardFight Vanguard IF. Not what I was expecting. And it's going to focus on Ibuki, Suiko, and Emi, which is such a weird combination of characters. And I'm kind of happy about this. If you remember my CardFight Vanguard G video, the one about the chances of us getting a reboot, and yes, we'll be talking about that in a sec, don't worry. But in that, I said I wanted to make a video about what if they made another story arc in the style of the Shindou arc. What characters would they focus on? Which characters would get their own spin-off arc? And I haven't released that video, and I might not now that it seems to be irrelevant, because in the video I recorded that I haven't edited yet, two of the answers I give, one of them being Suiko and the other one being Ibuki. Ibuki mainly because of his redemption arc. I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see more of the slow progression from him being like over the top evil to a genuinely pretty nice person, you know? I wanted to see more of that, and I think it could genuinely deserve its own arc. And Suiko mainly because she's a really fascinating character they haven't really done much with. So I was leaning towards an ultra rare character just because I wanted to see more of them. And the reason I went for Suiko was because I feel like she's the one who's done the least. Like Korin, of course, it goes without saying that Korin's done a lot in terms of the Vanguard anime, but Suiko hasn't really done all that much, and I feel like Rekka, even though she hasn't really had that many moments, the moments she has had have been really memorable. So I feel like if any of them deserve their own story arc, it should be Suiko. Now, of course, again, she isn't the protagonist of the story arc, but I'm happy to see her back, and same goes for Ibuki. So it's looking like Emi's gonna be the protagonist, which is really interesting because it goes against pretty much everything we've ever been told about how card game anime work. Everyone always says the protagonist has to be a teenage or young adult male because that's what sells. Everyone always says that it can't be a girl, especially one as young as Emi. And Emi just seems like such a random character. Will she sell cards? Will she not? Well, I don't know, and things get more confusing when we actually start talking about what cards will be releasing soon too. And I don't know what this means because again, the translations are a little iffy, but at one point she's referred to as a magical girl, and I don't know if they're referring to the clan she uses, or if they're referring to Emi herself, or even if they just mean it literally or metaphorically. I don't expect this to go full on magical girl anime, but that is an interesting thing to take note of. But also another thing is, the coat she's wearing in the image they give looks a lot like Aichi's coat. You know, like the Aichi coat, like the kind of greenish cyan one that Aichi wears. in the first story arc. It looks like that one, more specifically the V series one because it has the longer sleeves. That's giving me Legion Mate vibes. The main reason for that is because when Corrin goes missing, Misaki starts wearing her hairband, right? So that she can remember her still. Well, what if Aichi goes missing, and because of that, Emi starts wearing his coat? Because otherwise, like, to me, it doesn't make sense for her to wear his coat unless there's a specific reason behind it. Unless they just are, you know, really close like that, like Emi just wears hand-me-downs from Aichi, but again, I doubt it. I hope there's an actual reason behind that, if it is the same coat. There's a good chance it might not be, because Vanguard does like to reuse similar design elements a lot, which isn't a bad thing, I quite like that. So there is a good chance it might just be a different coat, I don't know. The only other real piece of information we get told about this anime is that it's going to have Majesty Lord Blaster in it, which is, I guess, a new Blaster Blade unit. Weird. Again, I don't know how that ties into things. Maybe this is a Legion Mate type thing where Aichi is a villain. This is going to be set on a different world. They get like transported to, well, the world of IV, which I think is why it's called that. And it's very Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters, I think is the thing that it's really reminding me of. I'm looking forward to it just because it seems so weird and different, and I like seeing Suiko and Ibuki get some proper screen time and everything. So I'm interested to see what they do with it. So this is where things get confusing, because they announced the new trial decks that'll be coming out in March, and naively thinking, well, you know, the new story arc is CardFight Vanguard IF, then it's probably going to be Emi's clan, it's probably going to be Ibuki's clan, it's probably going to be Suiko's clan. No, it's Altmile, Chronojet, and Asher, and everyone knows what those decks are, right? Those are Chrono Shindou and Tokaha's decks. So what? Not only that, but in April, a month later, we're getting a booster called the Next Stage that's also focused on these clans. And I'm like, Bushiroad, do you have anything you want to tell us right now? And this is where things get complicated, because the anime and the card game don't seem to be communicating with each other here, because Majesty Lord Blaster is getting released as a kind of, sort of, I don't know what to call it, it's like a box that has like card sleeves and stuff in, you know those, like the box where you open it and it has like a bunch of cards as well as card sleeves and stuff. I don't know what to call it off the top of my head. I used to collect a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Ones of those. So they're releasing that, but the actual main cards they're releasing, you know, the trial decks and the boosters, seem to be G related. And I don't know what this means. I guess I'll try and list off as many possibilities as I can. So the first possibility is that the IV story arc is going to be really short. But then again, these cards are releasing in March, so I don't even think the CardFight Vanguard IV story arc would have started by that point, let alone ended. March is really soon. March is 2 months. Another possibility is that CardFight Vanguard IV ends up being a bait and switch, and it ends up making us think, oh, it's about Emi, Ibuki, and Suiko, but it very quickly kind of reverses and goes, actually, it's got Chrono in it and everything. Similar to what the Shinemon arc did, but even heavier. But another thing to mention too is that most of the trial decks so far, apart from the Bermuda Triangle one off the top of my head, have all had images of the anime character they're associated with on the box, as well as that being what the trial deck is called. They usually call it trial deck, and then the number, and then the character. So trial deck 01 Emi Sendou, and so on and so forth, right? These ones are just called trial deck Altmile, Chronojet, and Asher, and they don't have an image of the anime character on the box. They just have an image of the main unit. So again, I'm confused. What are you doing here? Are they gonna be releasing G-era cards now, but without an anime to go along with them? But I was always told that the anime was supposed to be a card game advert, so what is this current new story arc going to be advertising other than just this Majesty Lord Blaster box? I mean, sure, maybe the sets that come out after the next stage will be more focused on CardFight Vanguard IV, but what are they doing here? Is this Bushiroad admitting that no matter what they do, they're not gonna please everyone because they know there's a lot of people who don't want a G reboot anime, but they know that there are a lot of people who do want G to come back, so they're like, okay, fine, if we make it so the card game is focused on G, but the anime is not, maybe then everyone can be happy. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just like them trying to kind of find a healthy middle ground. Maybe different anime characters are going to be using these decks. It's weird to think about, because I don't know where they're going here, and I kind of would have loved a bit more clarification on that, because they must know that that's what everyone's going to be thinking when he announced these decks. So they could have went, hey, we know what you're thinking from these decks, but a G-Reboot ain't coming yet. And it's weird, because if a G-Reboot anime is coming, it kind of has to be now, because like I said, the anime exists to advertise the card game. So right now, as they're starting to release G-Era cards again, has to be when the anime comes out. Again, otherwise, how are they going to advertise it? They can't do it later because they'd be advertising old cards. So I don't know. I genuinely don't get it. But I'm interested to see what direction they end up going with this. So yeah, that's the new Vanguard news. I'm pretty lukewarm on it overall. This is my favorite of the 3 yearly conference presentations, mainly just because it seems to be the most interesting one. It's also the most confusing one, because again, I don't know how they're gonna handle the differences between the card game and the anime. That feels weird. IV definitely feels like a wild card, but it's for that reason I'm interested in it. You know, maybe it'll actually be something different. But yeah, I guess we'll see. So that ends in April, if I'm correct. So I will see you later with probably some more Shin'en 1 episode reviews, honestly. So yeah, see you later.